For Monday, February 9th, 2026, together, please. Members present constitute a quorum. We'll start with a prayer by Commissioner Foster and a pledge of allegiance by Commissioner Wandale. Please stand.
Let us pray. Dear Father, Lord, thank you for today. Thank you for the sunshine and the warmer weather today, Lord. We just thank you so much for your love and your mercy that you show us, Lord. I just pray that as we go through the agenda tonight that we just do the work of the county, that you put us here for a reason, Lord. We just thank you so much for salvation through your Son. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Salute. Pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Awesome. Next is the approval of the agenda. Commissioner Wandale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to add something under new business, if I may. It's just going to be a request to have a joint meeting with Oak Ridge and Roane County at ORNL to be able to learn more.
Someone's bag over here. I don't know who's
That's, that's not good when there's a bag sitting in the courthouse. Everybody was thinking that, yeah.
Leave that on outside. Yeah. I was thinking too.
Sorry, what were you wanted to add to the agenda? I got really distracted there.
No, I agree. Yes, I'd like to, under new business, make a request to add to the agenda to request a joint meeting with Roane County, Oak Ridge, Roane County Commissioners, Oak Ridge Councilmen. Certainly the mayors can come if they have time, but I would like for us to get that. And I think the city manager, Randy Heeman, said he'd be happy to set that up. And I will just put, if you don't mind, just put it under new business. We can discuss it there.
Anything else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd like to move up the item, I guess, 9A, Robert Campbell and Associates, New River, Rosedale Clean Water discussion. If I could move that up to just under the approval of the agenda, we'll make it 3A.
After the appearance of citizens?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, 4A.
Yeah.
I apologize. Yes, sir.
Any other changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the appearance of citizens. We have anyone like to speak, come for this committee for anything that's on or off? Come forward, please state your name and address, please.
Hi, Donna Heitmatic, 185 Harbor Drive. Good evening, everyone. After 41 years as an educator, I learned that when assignments are given, they should be completed and reported back on time. I think we all can agree on that. Last June, this commission voted to approve an operational audit of the animal shelter. To date, the public has not been informed that this audit has been completed or released. The commission also voted to add a parking area and separate entrance to the shelter. While the fenced area appears finished, it remains closed and unused. This operational audit is not optional, it's essential. If a 12-kennel shelter cannot be operated properly, expanding to a larger facility with a significantly higher operational budget puts taxpayers and animals at serious risk. When votes are taken and months pass without follow-through or public explanation, accountability becomes a concern. 8 months is more than enough time to report progress or explain delays. I'm not here to shame anyone. I'm here to ask for transparency, follow-through, and respect for the decisions this commission has already made. The director and the mayor are responsible for this work. I ask that the work that was approved to be completed and reported to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to come before this committee before we move on? Seeing none. Next is 4A, Robert Campbell and Associates, New River, Rosedale Clean Water discussion. This is a request by Commissioner Wandale.
Robert, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay.
You're right.
Thank you, sir. Robert Campbell Associates have done a lot of work up on that end of the county, I believe, over the past years, and just wanted to see if we could get Robert to speak to us about the possibility of different ideas for the New River, Rosedale. I'm going to say all the wrong names, and if Commissioner Beauchamp was here, she'd correct me on what the direct area is, but I just know it's an area that needs some water, and I think Robert Campbell might have something, Mr. Chairman, that he could share with us. Maybe we could get a step closer to that. So, Mr. Campbell, if you don't mind, just please open up and tell us what we need to learn.
All right, well, thank you, sir, and I don't know that I have all the answers, but I'll tell you some things and some options that we certainly have. Our understanding, there are about 3 places that need water. There's a church and a couple of residences that are up there. And so one of the questions is just to make sure those 3 places are the only ones that you're considering doing anything at. And the reason that's important is if there were 20, for instance, then the solution would be a different solution. We would go for something a little bit larger that could be more sustainable for that area. I believe I'm correct in that those 3 residences or the church and the 2 residences are the only ones. And so as long as that's understood from where we're going, then that's good.
I think if we stay under 20, we don't have to follow the TDEC rules. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a small community, Commissioner, and I think it may be even 50, but there is a limit to what you have to stay under to be out of the having to have certified water operators and plant operators go look at the system. And it's either the number or the amount of flow that's going through there. But yes, that is correct. So, right now, the wells seem to be getting water. The water out of them are poor quality. I mean, we've got the testing from a year or 2 ago, and there's different things that those wells have, different contaminants that are in the water. Each one of those requires something a little different to treat. If you take the water out of the ground, put it in some sort of storage tank, you still have to treat it before it goes in. There's still different things that you would have to do. Our recommendation would be that each house that has a well has a unit that is installed, and I'm going to use the word a filtration system for lack of a better term, even though it's really not a filtration system that you think of on your house today. It's got some biological treatment components to it, and yours on your house is more of a removing some solids or removing different taste and odor. So it's more of a charcoal filter that you may have at your house. Those units can vary in cost depending on what the treatment options are. And again, if the water flow is adequate, then there's no need for some sort of smaller auxiliary tank, a 10-gallon tank or something that would be placed with them. And our understanding was that they had good flow or good enough flow. It was just the quality of the water was really bad. Then the question becomes, and those units can range in price from $10,000 to $12,000 to $20,000 to $25,000, depending on, again, what the treatment that's being required and what you have to do for that. The question then becomes, how do you maintain those units? Is that the homeowner's responsibility, or is that another entity's responsibility? And again, historically, that's been the homeowner's responsibility, although these may be a little bit more involved than the simple, again, use a brand name, Culligan water filter that you might have at your house or at your pool or something. So if it's just the 3, that would be our recommendation, is that you, and we can certainly take those those samplings and go to different manufacturers and and come back with a solid number for each one of those. I don't think there may be a little bit of minor plumbing that's involved in that by the time we plumb what comes out of the well into this system. And there may be some electrical work that needs to be done there too. Again, those things typically have to operate with that. So that's just kind of short and sweet of it, I believe. So any questions or comments or?
Now, when you talk about cleaning the water up, because the samples that we've seen is pretty nasty.
Yes, sir.
So, and I'm sure you've seen those as well. So you can clean that water up?
You should be able to, again, all water can be clean. It's just the treatment train that you use to clean it with, you know, and there may have to be, again, a secondary chlorination that's involved in that. You may have some ultraviolet lighting that's involved in that. It's usually a bacteria type of contaminant, requires some sort of chlorination or ultraviolet type decontamination for the system. So we would have to look at each specific issue to make sure of what treatment train would need to be done for this.
So the ultraviolet, is that for parasites or?
Yeah, it's typically for bacteria or
Yeah.
something. It's not a viral thing. It's a bacteria
Right.
related.
Okay, all right.
Well, what would be the next step for us to pursue the consideration of this? I realize we're not.
Yeah, and again, I apologize if I didn't have any more concrete answers. I wasn't exactly sure which direction we were going.
Well, that's what we're doing tonight, yeah,
Yeah.
trying to get a direction.
So I think the next thing is to take those samples and get with some of our equipment manufacturers and give them, because they know what their equipment will take care of and what that treatment train is that we have to have will be needed. Take that to them and say, here's what we've got coming out of these wells. What equipment do you have? And there's probably, Alan, 3 or 4 of those folks around in the area, that have different treatment options for that.
Okay, so we wouldn't have to drill a new well, we just use the present well?
Yeah, again, from what I'm seeing, and Mr. Phillips is here, and it looks like your flow coming out of those wells seem to be good, and drilling a new well is just gonna give you the same water that's
Yeah.
gonna come out. I mean, you can say, well, you go deeper, but my guess is you go deeper, you still run the same risk of the same stuff.
At some point in time.
Yeah, so if the wells themselves are functioning properly, which they seem to be just from a flow standpoint, it makes no sense to go try to dig a new well instead of just go ahead and treat what's coming out of them.
Okay. So you're probably looking at it on the high end 25,000, or we need to find.
Well, I need to get you a better budget number, because based on what they come back to, it may be, that's kind of a per house number. But yeah, I mean, they may come back with something that's really, if you've got a heavy metal or something in there that requires.
So we need
something.
to get a sample done.
Yeah, I think we do have samples. They're older. We can certainly go get updated ones and see, but I don't think that's going to change much in the last. I think a couple of years ago was the samples that were taken.
Okay. All right.
Robert, you've installed this type of filtration stuff in the past?
We've seen them installed. I mean, obviously personally, but we have some experience. But they're usually on a larger system where we take a well that will serve 50, 75 residences or something, and you install a treatment system on top of that. And it's, again, a larger system, requires certified operators and all those kind of things. But they're there to serve larger groups. But it's the same system, it's just in a smaller footprint.
So this being in an abandoned mine reclamation area type situation, do you know if there's anything that TDEC, State of Tennessee, might be able to join in with us to help us get these filtration systems installed?
I think we can reach out to, he's Trevor Martin with OSM, and I think we're doing one on a larger scale in Campbell County. Right, yeah, we just finished the PR on that, didn't we? Yeah.
So in Campbell County, is that the same situation where it's, private homes that need some water?
No, it's an entire area.
Oh, okay.
And we've done several of those in Anderson County in larger areas where for larger areas, the water was contaminated to run lines paid for by OSM money. But again, running new, you don't have anything to connect them to. In these other areas, you had lines to connect that to serve that. In this area, you're 2 or 3 miles away from any kind of potable water source. But we can certainly reach out and find out what grant opportunities are available.
Okay. Do you feel like this is the quickest potential solution we could offer these folks?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if we can get the equipment in, get everything up and running, then you're not talking about a very long period of time. To extend a water service Well, you've got to go through a similar process, plus then you got the time of construction, which can take a year, you know, and it can be a very long process, that we have to go through. So I think the individual unit is a much cleaner way to go.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if Commissioner Val has any questions. I know that's his district. He's here tonight. Okay. Mayor, do you have anything to add?
No, sir.
I'd like to move forward, Mr. Chairman. I don't know if any of the other commissioners, I don't want to make a motion before I jump out front here, but does it?
Commissioner McCain?
I was thinking more in terms of a well with a tank to supply maybe 20 homes in that area. What size tank would we need? Is the water flow there enough to fill a tank? Most of the area could be gravity flow.
Yeah.
You know, there might be at some point have to have an inline pump. But that's one of the things, if you're just going to do these 3 homes in one church, that doesn't help the area grow any.
Right.
And I'm leaning more toward, you know, a tank and the well to provide the water and treat it, and then run lines to the homes. But that, I mean, you know, there's no room for growth if everybody's going to have to buy a $25,000 treatment, you know.
No. And that's kind of the basis of that. My initial question was that, you know, we're going to take care of these 3 places. Well, then what happens, right? I mean, you know, there's possibility 4 or 5 more people build homes in the next
Right.
3 or 4 years too, which you're kind of back in the same situation again. So let us take a look at both options just to see. The issue with the tank, I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you, the issue with the tank is it needs to be, you end up with a tank, it's going to have some level of residual, maybe chlorinated before it goes into the tank to sit in the tank. And you have to make sure that tank's not going to be overly large, or you run the risk of that water going stale within the tank and not having enough flow leaving the tank.
Right.
So and Commissioner McCamey, I've been through this a few times where you go, oh, we're going to have, not you, but I'm in different situations where they say, we're going to have 100 people here. And you go design this thing for 100 people, and 5 of them get on it. And then you're having to pump water out on the ground constantly because you don't have enough people to let that water turn in the tank and do it. So we certainly can bring you that option, and that's the kind of the reason for my first comment was if you think there's going to be some level of growth, then that option probably helps you a little bit.
Yeah,
But
well, I'm sure there'd be some growth if there was water.
Okay.
You know, that's our problem. Right now, we don't have good drinking water over there.
Right.
And but I think we need to plan on at least maybe 15 to 20.
okay, well, we can certainly look at that and kind of give you an idea of cost-wise and other things. So
Okay.
you can centralize stuff and just like you said, then run lines from that centralized place to the locations that you have to have it at.
And we need to know, if we do go with individual filters, what kind of maintenance costs there is with those,
Yeah,
you know?
that's up. Yeah, and again,
They
if
were
you
talking about $5,000 yearly, you know, for having a bigger well,
yeah.
but it's gonna cost $5,000 yearly for these individual filters too.
Yeah, and that's something we need to find out because that could be a very accurate statement is that, you know, somebody's gonna charge you $3,000 per home per year when you could have one big system that they're just gonna charge you $5,000 for. And so, you know, you certainly could run that risk.
Well, do we need to do anything to move this forward?
Let me just give me the authority to go to give you some information as far as the study goes, knowing what the 2 options are. I mean, that was kind of, and Commissioner Wendell and I've talked, and we've talked with Mr. Isbell and I've talked a little bit too, and we just weren't sure exactly which direction we wanted to go. We talked about tanks a little bit in this, but I didn't know how big the the solution needed to be. So let us come up with a couple different options, and we certainly can present those back to you, and then we'll also reach out to OSM to see what funding they may have available, because it is contaminated. It has to be proven it's contaminated by surface mining.
Yep.
And so, you know, and I'm not a expert, but some of those things look like surface mining components to them.
Is that just basically because of the ingredients that's in the water?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to go ahead and make a before I make a motion, now, Robert, are you willing to do this at no cost, just run the numbers and
Yeah,
stuff?
let's run some numbers, we'll make some phone calls and kind of look at that, and then.
Come back and,
Yeah, charge you 10 times more on the back end.
that's what we like about you, Robert.
I'm just, strike that from the record.
I know you're a good man, you're good company. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to proceed and allow Robert Campbell Associates to run 2 different studies, one to service all 3, the church and the 2 residents with a filtration system, and then secondly, run the numbers on what it would be to run water to 15 to 20 homes in the area, and present that back to the commission, or operations rather.
Motion by Commissioner Wandell, seconded
Second.
by Commissioner Barron's. Any discussion on the motion?
One more question,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Chairman. Didn't you do a study at one time about a well with ACWA, Anderson County Water Authority?
The only thing I have in my file is where we have those. I don't think we ever did at that location with the well. I think we just had those. We took a company out there to look at it. We didn't, I don't think, did a study. We just had them come out and look to see what individual filtration for each, and I think that's as far as it went.
Oh, okay.
I think we didn't
I
go.
was thinking there was a study done jointly with Water Authority.
I couldn't find one. If there was, it was, again, the only thing I found was where we went out of, it was a year and a half or so ago.
I think this was in 2006, maybe. I made that motion to.
Yeah. I'll look and see, because you may be absolutely right, but I was not aware of one, so we may have somebody else working on it, and I just wasn't aware of it. But I can certainly look that up.
All right, appreciate it.
No worries.
Mr. Foster?
Yeah, I'm not going to vote no on having you do the study. I do have some reservations with this not inside of our preview. I think it's an ACWA. We have a utility for a reason. And 2, I have concerns about county taxpayers' dollars paying for individual filters for people's houses, that maintenance effort, those kind of things. So I'm not against doing the study and seeing, but I do have some reservations about if we're in the proper lane, and 2, about taxpayer dollars going towards that. So not anything towards you. I think the study's fine. Just want that to be on the record. So I'm not going to vote no tonight, but to move forward with the study.
Mr. Chairman, and I agree 100%. I don't know how we could cross that bridge with county taxpayer dollars, but I was going to mention to you is what I would hope we can do is go to TDEC, go to the state. I mean, we've said the story 1,000 times. They've said the story 1,000 times. That area started Anderson County, and there is 800 people in one section at one time. That's hard to believe. 1900s that many people were there. The coal all left, the money went out, and now these people don't. So it's my hope, Commissioner Foster, that TDEC will say, hey, there's 3 homes, this is the cost, we'll maintain it for 20 years. And that's wishful thinking, but that's what I hope Robert will bring to the table and go get that done. I agree with you, we shouldn't be using taxpayer dollars to do it, but if we have to get to that level, I'm willing to say yes, and I respect your opinion of saying no.
Anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
All right, thank y'all. We'll get to work.
Thank you,
brother.
Mr. Campbell.
Appreciate you coming.
Next was a discussion about supplying first responders with a vehicle for voluntary fire departments. This was my request. I've been working with Chairman of the Fire Commission, Commissioner Wandell, on this also. It came to Operations Committee a couple months ago, maybe last month also, where we had a very unfortunate incident where someone lost their life, maybe where we didn't get there quick enough. In the rural parts of Anderson County, it's really hard sometimes, as much as they try, to get an ambulance there as soon as possible. And being on the volunteer fire department, I realize how important it is to have a first responder. We just had one that was doing a first responder that actually ruined his truck, wrecked his truck, totaled it, because he was trying to get to service the people of his district. So and we talked about it at Medford Volunteer Fire Department about a first responder vehicle, you know, the cost of it, probably about $50,000, you know, for the vehicle, and then we'd have to equip it. But one of the other things I thought about is if we could maybe work with Lieutenant Governor, because he's got a lot of connections with Rome State, especially with their medical. We got LMU, we got all this other. Maybe we can get some students as well that can help out with this first responder. So what I would like to do is just, you know, make it aware and give you time to think about that, and just think about what to do for your area. You know, Andersonville, Marlow, Claxton, Briceville, New River, all these, you know, it really takes a while to get there. You know, we've got a gentleman that you know, that's here tonight that didn't think he was going to be here tonight several years ago, because it just took a while to get the ambulance there. And it's not because they're not trying. We don't have enough people in EMS. We don't have enough ambulances, and Commissioner McCamey can tell you, you know, there's a big need. But I think if we have a first responder vehicle in every district, that'll definitely help. But I'd like to put this on for next month, but it's just for discussion, for you to think about, talk to your people in your rural areas, and see what they think.
I like it.
Anything?
Yeah, let me ask a question.
Comment?
Is your intention to have one for each
Yes.
volunteer? Okay, all right.
I know it's costly, it may seem costly, but if you save one life, you can't put a price on that. Okay. Anything else? So we'll just think about that, and we'll take it up next month. And we'll go back to Fire Commission for discussion as well.
So I'm gonna make a motion to defer it to next month, just so we're keeping up with procedures, or do we want to send it to Fire Commission before it comes back here?
We'll do both for discussion. I mean, they already had discussion in Fire Commission, and they was all for it.
Okay, so I'm just gonna defer it back to here for next month for under unfinished business.
Yeah,
That'll
and
be
I
my
think
motion.
what they want to do is, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they thought it was a good idea, what do we got to do to move on with it, and this is the next step. So,
Mayor, did you have anything to add? I mean,
I just think at Fire Commission, we were thinking more in terms of, we weren't sure, I thought, that whether it was fire or first responder. And so we were our discussion kind of geared towards, like one of those vehicles, I'm drawing a blank right at this moment, on like a suppression system, a lower cost vehicle.
It's like
So
a
we might
utility
want to
truck.
put it back on Fire Commission if it's more about first responders, because we didn't,
Yeah.
you know, fully discuss that part of it.
okay. Yeah, well, you can send it to Fire Commission and then back to operations.
Okay, so I will make that motion to refer it to Fire Commission.
Okay.
Second.
All right, got a motion and second, discussion on the motion, and for clarification, it's like a utility truck. It's got somebody that can treat, you know, medical issues and some of the other stuff.
the mayor jogged my mind. She was there. We did talk about it, and she's correct. We didn't have a clarification, but there were several members that exactly knew what you were proposing and the exact vehicle. And it's much more economical than buying a, you know, $2 or $3 million unit or whatever it is. So somebody was supposed to contact that company and bring one from another county, Loudoun County or something like that. So we'll work on that too in the motion. I'll have them. So thank you.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous, and thank you very much. Next is the mayor's report.
Okay, the first item is the resolution 2601-1246. This is for the acceptance of the proposal of TDOT to construct a project designed as the numbers are there in your agenda. This is the county obligation portion of the widening of State Route 170 that's near Milton Lake Drive, that's known as Edgemore Road. And so last month I brought it. We gave it time to sit out there, sit in the commission office. I know Commissioners Wandell and McNabb got copies and took it around to folks in the community. Mr. Long got a copy. I did verify with him. He is okay with it because I said if he wasn't, that we could put it off another 30 days. So I'm just have that in front of you for your approval.
Motion to approve. Second.
Was that, you, first and second?
Mhm.
Okay. First by Commissioner Yeager, seconded by Commissioner Foster. Any discussion on the motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Our last meeting, we agreed to take this information and, I don't know if it was in commission, I think it was a regular commission meeting, to forward it to Highway Committee to take up so we can.
Oh, okay, okay.
We didn't meet, Mayor, it was canceled
Okay.
today, so if we could just give it another 30 days, I know there's a lot of questions, and one of the copies we left off at one of the businesses, somebody walked off with that copy, so, but I got a couple more, and, I don't know, Commissioner McNabb, you think it'd be prudent to wait maybe another 30 days?
I do, yeah, because like you said, the one got picked up, but no, there's still questions.
Okay. If you gentlemen wouldn't mind.
I'll withdraw.
Okay.
Are you gonna change it or just withdraw?
I just
Did it
withdraw.
go back to the
Yeah, we
highway?
can just bring it back next.
Oh, no, I was gonna say, if you're gonna withdraw, I'd like to see it go back to Highway
Okay.
again, because
Okay.
we didn't meet today. Okay.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll
I'll
make a
second
motion.
it.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Motion by Commissioner Wandell, seconded by Commissioner Foster to refer back to the Highway Committee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, if anyone has any questions on that information, contact myself or Commissioner McNabb. We'll be happy to kind of go over it with them. I know, as the mayor said, there's a copy in the commission room on the first floor in room 118, if anybody'd like to see a copy. Mayor, I don't think that's available online anywhere, is it? I couldn't see
No,
it.
that, I reached out, and I don't know, I mean, I don't even know, I mean, I asked if there was something that was in a PDF copy, because I thought we could post it, and,
Right.
I was given nothing, and
Yeah.
so that's why I made copies and put them in the offices.
So we'll get copies out there. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, the next is, the National Flood. So I'm requesting a motion to approve Resolution 2511-1242, the National Flood Insurance Program. This updates Anderson County's flood prevention resolution. The main things about this, I guess 30 days ago, I brought it to you all just so that you could take a look at it, study it, could be out there in the public sphere. Mr. Brooks has looked at this, made a few recommendations for some addition, some language addition about how many days to be out there, making a place for deed references. Basically, the whole, I mean, Anderson County has one. This is an update. What this does is it makes the county eligible, or residents eligible for reduced, if we have this, they have the ability to have reduced flood insurance costs. And then it is managed by FEMA, and one of the benefits is that federally backed flood insurance and public assistance. So if we do have a major event, say, like what happened in Northeast Tennessee and all of that, it's important that we have these plans or these resolutions in place. And I'm happy to answer any questions as best I can. You can see the objectives are on page 2. We, as a county, if you look at page 3, you will see base flood and what that means. So a base flood area is having a 1% chance of being equaled or exceeded in any given year. This term is referred to as the 100-year flood, or the 1% annual chance flood. And I bring that up just because as a county, you can bump that number up, but this is the minimum, and so I just want folks to understand that we're not putting in place, any standards that are beyond that minimum. And then I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have. One of the things, I did put this in the agenda, is that Mr. Brooks is working on that for page 10, the community panel numbers. That's just the map reference. We have one in our older resolution, but we just want to verify that there's no additional map areas to put in there. I guess the other things are the building official is appointed as the administrator. Margie does have a application that Mr. Brooks has reviewed. I think you added that deed reference that you would like on there. So I don't know if you have any other questions.
Commissioner Foster.
Yeah, the changes that the law director, are they been made or?
Yes.
Okay, they have been made in there.
Yes.
I just want to make sure, then I'll make a motion to send on to full commission for approval.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner McCamey. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, and then the last item is, I don't have an exact spot yet. The CID has a crime scene vehicle that is just out in the elements. And so what they are requesting is a dedicated space under the Robert Jolly building. And so there is, if you're under the Robert Jolly building, there are some lanes, and you'll see some folks that are parking there. They are thinking about parking this vehicle there in the lane that is closest to the elevator. A lot of times the patrol officers will park there. If they're not there, sometimes you'll see other people park there. The sheriff and CID are very flexible, so if you're okay with this, I can try to have something firmed up by Tuesday's meeting. Roger is going to meet with Detective Scalia and get it firmed up. But I do think it is a wise decision. It gets the asset out of the elements, and it's an expensive vehicle. It's got a lot of equipment on it, and so that's the purpose for wanting to get it a dedicated spot.
I'll make a motion to send on to full commission and to have a spot by Tuesday if we,
Okay,
and if we don't, we can defer it at full commission to next month.
okay.
Seconded by Commissioner Yeager. Discussion on the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Law Director.
Mr. Chairman, real quick,
Go ahead.
sorry, I just had one question I didn't get a chance to ask. Mayor, on the National Flood Insurance Program
Yes.
resolution, does that tie into our 20-year growth plan at all?
You know, I do not know the answer to that.
Okay.
I can find out.
Because I know the BZA's been talking about it and
Yes.
stuff, but it might be good to kind of overlap them.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Good idea. Law Director's report.
Okay, just a couple of things to bring up. The community mapping update, we've been working on that. We are reviewing historical data, but to see all the community names that we need to include in it. That is not completed yet. And the illegal robocall letter, we have a draft in your packet for you to look at to see if we are prepared to go forward. We have sent one in the past, but this was going to be more, hey, what are your thoughts, representatives, as far as what can we do, what can you do, what can the legislature do to try to minimize this aggravating situation. Those were the two things that we had going. Pretty much everything else in there is just contracts we looked at, updates to things. I have one good thing to report. The
Let's go ahead
lawsuit.
and get a vote on, before we move on, let's get a vote on the robocall letter.
Sure.
Motion approved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Wandell, seconded by Commissioner Barron. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous, and I would say everybody out there does too. Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's fine. We prevailed in the Zayo bid protest case against the Budget Committee that acted as the bid protest committee. So that allows the Anderson County School System to proceed with what they're already doing, and that's their contract for internet services that is now being provided by UDT. So as far as I can tell, or in my opinion, from reading the Judge Kelly's or Judge Thomas's opinion, is they can appeal if they like, but he was spot on in his analysis, and that's a public record. I'm not telling you anything that's not
Right.
in the order.
And he was brought in special, is that
He was
correct?
brought in special, and folks, he's not only a past trial court judge, he's also a past appeals court judge, so he knows what he's doing when he's writing his opinions.
Right.
But, we were tickled to get that news last Thursday.
Did he see any fault in our process at
No.
all?
No, I mean, there's always room for improvement, Commissioner, but there is not a requirement under the law to make written findings. As long as they can be gleaned from the record as something that the committee can hang its hat on, or the bid protest committee can hang its hat on, that's really the extent of the inquiry, and there was plenty in the record. When the opinion's filed, we'll get copies to everybody, and if some good bedtime reading, if you want to take a look at it. But he went through and he said, this, and this are in the record. So that's what we were looking for.
Good.
Yeah.
Mr. Foster.
We won't get any of our legal fees back off that, right, from them? Did they?
I don't think so, as it stands right now, Commissioner. One thought I had is there's a possibility to go after something based on the alleged TOMA violation. They just threw that in there, and his finding was there was absolutely no proof at all. And I personally, that was something that I wanted this committee to get, was that result from the judge. I was hoping he would say that. That may lead to ability to do something, since they basically threw that against the wall without doing any research before they did it.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else for the law director? I want to say you got a really good staff. Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to, of course, I haven't got to work with Miss Justice, but Miss Powell I have, and they're really good.
I'll tell you about Miss Justice. She was my office manager for 30 years when I was in private practice. She knows where all the bodies are buried. She knows where the skeletons are, but she also can do about anything.
Yeah, everything I see from your office I really like. Okay. Next is budget report appropriation.
Chairman, I've got on the violation zoning resolution, what's the status of the old Shinliver School?
The old-
The old Shinliver School,
Okay.
they were supposed to go in there and clean it up, and nothing's ever been done. It's an eyesore.
What?
All the windows are broken out of the old gym building, the roof's caving in, and it's just an eyesore.
Commissioner, what, you're talking about violations, zoning violation, or codes violations?
Yeah,
The Shinliver School, is it privately owned?
yes,
Who is the owner? Is it a Nelson?
no, thank God.
Do you, I mean, if I had the address, we can go back to the report. If I had the address or the owner's name, I'm just not making a connection with Shinliver School, is what I'm saying. If, the ones that are open right now, they're listed in the report. So that means if it's come to us, we've listed them if we filed suit, and then if we've opened any recently, we've got those listed as well. Do you happen to know, you're gonna know better than me where the address and location? If I have that, I can give you a specific answer.
According to the tax records, 783 Sulphur Springs Road.
I did get a call about that one, and Mr. Vickery, who's the codes officer, was going to research the history and then also go out. So I know he was headed out there the day I got a call about it, but I don't have a file history on it
Well,
yet.
there was we took some action on it, our zoning department did, and they were supposed to clean it up, and they came back and asked for another 90 days, and then another 90 days, and they're not really doing anything. They've not done anything in the last 3 or 4 years.
What I will do, Commissioner, is either tonight or in the morning, I'll make sure we either have it or don't have it, and I'll let the committee know whether it's made it to our office or not.
And the owner, as of January 1st, was Dean Brock.
That name is not familiar,
So that's what.
so we'll get you an answer. I'll get you an answer.
Okay, thank you.
On that same note, and we talked about this in our joint meeting, and we talked about the volunteer fire department. Is there such thing as community risk? Because we've got, and the fella, the owner's name was mentioned earlier, it's got 14 trailers and 5 houses. It's all being condemned with the grass that grows up over the trailer. And if one of those catches on fire, everything's gonna catch on fire. And to base the mountain and the schools just parallel with that. Is there any such thing as community risk? I know that your office, the mayor, is doing everything we can to expedite this cleanup. But it's because of the 90-day rule. If you do a little bit, then you get another 90 days and all that.
Chairman, that specific term I'm not familiar with. I can tell you that and I know I'm not disclosing anything that's not in the public records, but we're moving forward with condemnation to have them torn down and removed. Now, that's not a specific answer to your question, but within that, there's just a few of them that have electricity running to them. That doesn't stop somebody from coming in and burning them down. I realize that, but I'll just, because I don't want to just throw an answer out there.
Right, I understand.
I'll be happy to look at that. Because I think that's it's an excellent question.
Okay.
One I hadn't really considered, but I'll certainly look into it.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Law Director, before we move on?
I do know, Mr. Chairman, on those particular ones, the law director's office has been working really hard. They actually mapped those out and have devoted special attention to them. I do know they were working on some resource documents because there are a couple of folks that reside there, and so they would be, they're going to have to find a new home. So Ms. Powell was putting together a list so that we could try to put together a team of people to maybe help those people find other housing.
Right, great.
So.
That's good.
Yeah, it is a sad situation for some of those folks, but those homes are just, in my opinion, and only my
Well, they're
opinion,
abandoned, and
They're
we've got
just not
homeless
habitable.
people that's migrating to that area, and then that's something that, it causes the homeless to migrate to that area. And then these cold nights, what are they doing to stay
building a
warm?
fire or,
Yeah,
yeah.
so, anyway. All right, budget report appropriation of EOC grant.
So, I don't know what was requested. I can walk back a little bit on the history. I didn't go back and pull everything and every single motion or anything, but this discussion actually started back in 2017. We had just some different meetings that were taking place in some of our various facilities, one of those being the EOC. It is a very old building. It is in not even remotely ADA accessible. And the very original motion on this actually happened at this committee back in 2018, and it was, I don't know if I have that motion here, but there was a motion to endorse the idea of an emergency operations center, and it carried by voice vote. That was February 20th, 2018. And then in 2021, I appeared before Operations Committee and brought a concept design and got a unanimous motion of approval from Operations Committee to work in an official capacity with the City of Clinton for a shared cost facility. And that was back during COVID. We were actually online during that meeting, but I did submit even some hand drawings. At that time, I was even, I think, the 2017 discussions even started with Mark Lucas. And as, you know, we don't have huge amounts of capital, it's one of those things like you kind of wait for, you wait for opportunities to find funds or how you can do it in a more economical way. And so the City of Clinton, the plan developed from there. The City of Clinton had land in the industrial park. They had a need at some point in the future to have another fire station. And so that's how that EOC operation plan developed, was that there would be fire bays, and that was presented to Operations Committee in 2021. There would be fire bays on one side, the EOC on another, but it would be on land owned by the City of Clinton. In 2020, I think it was 2023 or 4, there was a CDBG opportunity, and I've discussed that with the city manager. The city was looking at perhaps applying through the City of Clinton for that. That did not come to fruition or work out. Then what happened is we found this grant from FEMA, and Bryce actually found it. We worked with Congressman Fleischman. It does require, it's one of those grants that requires Congress to actually set aside the funds for states. And so those FEMA funds were awarded, and we were awarded almost $3 million, 2.942, and some, I can't read it without putting my glasses on, $940 to construct the EOC portion. But there is a match. And so that went through all the approvals. When we did the application, all of those numbers were part of that application. Then what happens is once the federal government appropriates the fund, then actually the state of Tennessee is your grant awardee, but it's line itemed what they're winning the grant for. So they had another facility, I think, one of the counties in Northeast Tennessee, one in West Tennessee, and then Anderson County's EOC. And so we're working through that. All of that came through this committee, both the request for funds, the match funds, where those funds would come from. And right now, the contract itself was approved by commission. Right now, we're in the stage, we just finished some environmental work. We had to do a really super thick document, which is about half of this grant book. That's on all the environmental stuff. But we're working our way through it, and from the original concept plan, not a lot has changed. The director, Joe Mead, is working with the architects on fine-tuning. We did originally have it as a two-story, but with construction costs escalating, we're keeping the same space, but putting it on one floor to avoid that second floor and having to have an elevator and, you know, long-term maintenance on the elevator. So all the same, you know, spaces, the same square footage, because it all has to line up with what you originally applied for. So it's a great, you know, it's a great grant. You know, when you struggle to find capital money, having the ability to get almost $3 million to help fund something that we need for the county is a good thing. And I thank Congressman Fleischman for helping deliver that.
Great. Well, is the city still on board with it?
Oh, yes, yeah. So, I mean, it's their property, and now it's unknown if they're going to immediately construct their fireside or if they might wait just a little bit longer. It's actually cleaner that they're waiting a little bit, because we were going to have to really get into making sure that TEMA understood, no, we're not touching, you know, we're using none of our dollars for that side. But the site plan, how we're laying it out on the site, is all being designed for their fire bay.
Yes.
What you want to do?
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mayor, thank you for the explanation. And I don't argue any of those timelines, and I've heard some discussions, and it escapes my mind. I'm getting older and can't remember things. So the general fund 101, the $3,923,920, has those funds came into our county? Or is that just a placeholder for the amount of funds that are needed?
That's the placeholder, so those will be the federal funds that we receive for the
Okay.
project. And then our local funds are the 980.
Gotcha. So have we received the $2,942,940?
No.
Okay.
So, this is a reimbursement grant, and so what we have to do is, so what we'll do is we'll recognize it as a revenue. And then as we expend dollars, we request reimbursement. So anything, so for instance, we just had to do some additional environmental that was a cost that we had not, that's not included in the contract for architect and engineering. And so we had to reach out to the state of Tennessee. We've got to get we have to get permission, approval. They got to review it, say yes, it's eligible for reimbursement. We have to have that sign off to be able to spend that money.
Okay. Can I at some point, no hurry, conceptual plan? Could I see that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then last question. So we're going to put an EOC facility with these federal dollars running through the state from the federal government. And I appreciate Congressman Fleischman as well, because you're right, can't find funds nowadays. What happens when we build this EOC structure on the city of Clinton's property? How does that process work? Who owns the building? How will we not get kicked out of the building? How's that process work?
Well, I mean, it's Anderson County's building, so it's Anderson County's property, and we have the permission from the city of Clinton. Mr. Houck has sent over a draft memorandum of understanding for once it's constructed, you know, how it will be managed long-term in terms of assurances. You know, what if the city manager and those council are not there? What if Mayor Frank and this commission isn't there? So we're working through that, and that will be an agreement that comes to county commission for approval.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, and the agreement will be very important.
Yeah.
That will be a discussion that will definitely have to happen because it is city-owned property. But that, trust me, conversation will happen.
Yeah.
I figured you might know something about that.
Even originally, we talked about sharing bathrooms as an example, but when we started getting in earnest with the discussions with, you know, City of Clinton, Fire Chief, EOC, EMA personnel, we all started talking it out and thought, you know what, let's just make this cleaner from the start, and that way there's never any, you don't know, you may get into a personality conflict or something, or even just operationally it doesn't work anymore. So they're now, when they do their fire bays, they're going to include their own bathrooms, their own bunk areas. They would still have an outpost for the City of Clinton officer and, a desk, not another station, so.
It's okay. Will there, I'm just curious, will there be like a training or conference room or?
There will be, so, that was one of the things, we wanted to design the space, and they're actually working on that. That's what Joe, that's not my area of literacy, so it's dispatch. Joe is the director of EMA. They're looking at a space, for instance, what if Anderson County dispatch goes down? What if City of Clinton dispatch goes down? There'll be a space in there that can be a backup dispatch. For instance, if, lightning strikes the Jolly Building and it burns to the ground or something like that. There will also be meeting space in there. There's the emergency operations space itself that has all of the seats for if we have to, open up the EOC for an emergency, whatever level, that's their main space, but it can also be shared as well. So that was the vision, was to be able to have a place.
Thank you. I like it. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, next request by Commissioner Wandell. We've already took up the Robert Campbell and Associates. Next is the PILT revenue.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to get into a big, long discussion tonight, but what I would like to do is figure out a way for us. We had our Finance Committee meeting earlier today, and I've asked Robbie Holbrook, our Finance Director, to get us some information on there are 3 codes. I can't remember what they were in front of. The codes were ending in 40161, 40162, and 40163. And those codes are 3 payment in lieu of tax revenue streams. One was roughly 1.2 million, one was roughly 804,000, and then one was 33,000. 33,000 one was for TVA. I'm really got an interest in the county-wide payment in lieu of tax situation, and I want to understand better. And I need the department heads and everybody and budget and everybody to kind of educate me, because I feel like we have a lot of property in Anderson County that's under payment in lieu of taxes. And with TWRA up in the New River area, I'm just guessing, I know it shows different numbers. One place you might look shows 34,000 acres for TWRA, but then it's attached to another Sunquist piece from years ago, so it could go all the way up to 200,000+ acres. That goes on up into Scott County and Campbell County, I think. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is TWRA doesn't have any payments to our county for all the land that we have with them. And I'm not advocating we're going to tax them, but I sure would like to understand better, because in the research I've done, there does seem to be some opportunities where there are occasions where a county could pursue TWRA and do some things, and not necessarily say you got to give us money, but there might be some other things I would think that the state would say to that area that we should team up and help out. And the next item will be roads, so there's another thing. So I just want to put it on everybody's radar. I know we get our 800,000 from DOE, and the mayor already mentioned that she's in negotiations with that. And Mayor, I just want to clarify, the 800,000, I think it's 627,000, ain't it, last time? Something like that?
Yeah, I think so. It's 600 and something, but I don't remember the.
So on that 600,000, we're not required to separate any of that with the school systems other than Anderson County?
No, it's strictly Anderson County. So City of Oak Ridge gets their own payment in lieu of from Department of Energy, and Roane County gets theirs. So the city has their own. So it's something that the county system, it's for the benefit. I think the language in our request has traditionally been for the benefit of education and other things, and so that's why the schools have traditionally received 492,000 of whatever amount it is that we get, that's their share of that.
Yeah, it looks like City of Oak Ridge gets 1.2 million for payment in lieu of tax, and they get another 1.2, 1.3 million for schools, and so it's two separate payments, it looked like to me. And I just want to make sure that we're not double dipping in Oak Ridge when, if they're
Yeah.
already getting a payment, so you've answered that question. But, we have 11,434 acres of DOE land in Anderson County, and we're getting that $600,000, so I would hope that there would be some discussions with DOE and looking at things differently. I know with all these companies coming in, that's another thing, how DOE properties transition back to these private entities, and I know most of it's all outside of Anderson County, but when it does happen in Anderson County, how do we as a county capture that business, and what do we do to make sure we're getting our fair market value for that?
Since I've been here, there have been very few parcels that have transferred from DOE, so our acreage has been pretty consistent. I want to say, and I could be wrong, I'd have to go look this one up because it's been several years. I want to say maybe 17 acres came off or 11 acres came off. You are correct, the majority that DOE's transferred has been in Roane County. I do know, so for instance, there are some of the DOE properties where there are lease structures. So for instance, you have New Hope Center, Jack Case Center. Those are actually, from a tax standpoint, better for Anderson County because we get full value. So for instance, if you look at who are Anderson County's top 10 taxpayers, you look at our DOE payment in lieu of, it doesn't put them at the top of the list. But if you take the DOE payment in lieu of and you add it with the tax revenue we're receiving from those facilities, they are the top taxpayer in Anderson County. And that is how those were structured. I know from the federal government standpoint that I have seen this in writing in places, they don't like deals like that because they, it's costing them more. But if it is transferred to a private company from the Department of Energy, it is taxable unless at the local level, and Commissioner Yeager could talk more about this from Oak Ridge's standpoint, with your history on the IDB. I don't think you're still on the IDB.
For about 5 years.
Yeah, but unless there's some kind of payment in lieu of agreement that's made or some type of tax abatement, then it will go on the books at full value if it's transferred to a private company.
But if it was in Anderson County, we would
Yes.
be notified that they couldn't do that payment in lieu of tax without our approval, correct?
Correct,
Okay.
that's
In
correct.
Anderson County?
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
No, I appreciate discussion. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to gather more information. I apologize, I just threw it on the agenda, but I just want everybody to start thinking about that. And, there's the 1.2 million in payment in lieu of tax revenue code. I think it was the 40163 code that intrigued me. I'd like to know what encompasses all of that 1.2 million in payment in lieu of taxes. And I think there were some questions earlier in one of our meetings about when does the payment in lieu of taxes end at the mall or somewhere, and we really don't have a clear understanding. I think Robbie said it goes, but anyway, we'll get all that information and get in front of us, and I appreciate the opportunity. If it's okay with our fellow board members here, I'd like to bring it back next month, if that's all right. Okay.
Make a motion
401.
to defer that,
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to defer to next month.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes unanimous. But speaking on that 40163 in lieu of taxes, TWRA owns most of New River, probably 90% of it. And does that money ever go back to New River? Did the coal mineral tax go back to New River? Did the timber tax go back to New River? So think about that as we go forward and trying to get water and development into that area.
Mr. Chairman, so I know and I can try to track down, there has been some TWRA payments. So last year there was $28,511. And I'm gonna put, I thought I brought it with me tonight. I was like looking through my papers, but I must have left it on my desk. So there was, 600 or 700 acres, I believe, last month. Scotty mentioned it, and I kind of looked, and I was like, I was trying to get the memory to kick in. So the Harris family wanted to sell their property to TWRA, and that property sale allowed a new public access to wildlife management area that is already owned.
Yeah.
And so they did reach out to me and asked just for my personal opinion on it. And I did write them back, and I can put that email exchange in my mayor's report on Wednesday for everybody to see. So I reached out and I said, I can't speak on behalf of the county. I typically, something like this would run through commission. Here's our date, let me know. And the gentleman said, well, it's just, you can send a personal email, or we typically do not get anything from commissions or anything like that. And so in looking at it, you know, my own opinion was, how do I block Mr. Harris? It's just a message to the Tennessee Building Commission.
Mhm.
And how do I block Mr. Harris from making his sale as the mayor? It's his property, it's his sale, and I saw a benefit in that it opened up that land to public access for the Wildlife Management Agency. I do know that there was many years ago, like you said, back with Sunquist, I even tried to look into this. There was property that was transferred, and I even had some meetings with the executive of Campbell County about this. Timber operations were still ongoing, but yet the land was transferred to a tax exempt status in terms of the owner or the holding of the property. And to me, that did not seem fair that, okay, you've made a donation of the property, but then the timber operators are still operating, and Anderson County is not getting any kind of revenue in order to address, timber trucks or whatever that is still using our infrastructure. So I don't know, I brought that up once before. I didn't get very far with it. I don't know if it's something that, would take legislation to address or what, but that's just a little background on that.
Yeah, I think they just get a permit,
Yeah,
and that's it. And they pay that to TWRA, then Anderson County loses out.
yeah.
That's my understanding.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Mayor, I appreciate you just, explaining all that. Yeah, Mr. Harris, I think it was 740 acres. And the state pilot payment in lieu of tax, TWR, TVA, it shows in 24-25, the budgeted amount was $30,570 in our books. But I guess my question is, when the money comes from TWRA, where do we put that in the county? What codes it go in?
To my knowledge, and I can verify with Robbie, if it's just a general code that comes in like that, it's just being unless you all earmark it for something, it is just going into your pot of revenues that
General
you're
fund?
funding the general fund with. So some payments by law must go to certain expenditures, but otherwise, when you're approving the budget, you're itemizing, your budget book has all the revenues. You're getting property tax, sales tax, and it has requirements for how it's split. And then all these other revenues are just going into that big pot of money that you turn around and plug into the expenditure codes. So, and I mean, you all could dedicate it. You could say, you know what, it makes sense. We want TWRA money to go to this because it's a it's a TWRA payment and it should fit into this category. And you have the authority to do that as commissioners.
So hypothetically, if, say, we're getting $33,000 from TWRA for property up there, could we use that to fund the water?
You could earmark it for that, couldn't
You are, yes, I mean, you have the authority as,
It's just discussion.
Yeah.
But the second item, and I was looking on here, is the code 40162 is payment in lieu of tax for utilities, which I thought was interesting. So I don't, from what I recall in the budget books, it just shows payment in lieu of tax TVA, payment in lieu of tax DOE, and then payment in lieu of tax. I want to understand all of the payment in lieu of taxes, all the properties, all the bills, when those funds come in, where do they go, and how do we tie that all together? But a lot
Sure.
to ask for, I know.
yeah, and the utilities, so that is based on, they value, their infrastructure is valued, so if it's CUB and it's the electric lines, Oak Ridge.
What about the water
Municipal electric, I don't know about that one.
So I think that intrigues me, and I don't mean to cut you
Yeah.
off, but obviously we gave the water authority all the assets. And if they're not paying any taxes to the county, I think they should. I think
Yeah,
there
I
should be
have-
some kind of
yeah.
a payment in lieu of tax agreement with the county and the water authority for the fact that we gave all the taxpayers equipment, plants, everything, customers, everything, pipes, everything. We gave it to them so they could get in existence. So it would only be fair in my mind, and I'm not blaming you,
Yeah.
Mayor, we're just talking, but it would be nice to have them come to the table, and I'd say right now there's zero payment in lieu of tax from the Anderson County Water Authority.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of, so whether it's rail, the utilities, a lot of this is governed by state law.
Okay.
And how it's not just a local decision, how we enter in, how we get that payment. So for instance, the payment in lieu of from TVA, and lots of states do it differently. The state of Tennessee brings in, they receive funds from TVA for utility power sales. And then at the state level, they have a split, and I cannot remember what it is right off the top of my head, but I think it's the state retains 50%. And then the remainder is split and divided, and I'll have to verify this, Commissioner Wandell, but with local governments. In some states, the local governments get the majority of it. And I've raised that topic before, and it's not too popular because, like CTAS gets funded out of the TVA payment in lieu of. And I think there are other, I mean, once you establish a mechanism for how things are funded, to unwind that is very difficult because then you have a lot of lobbyists who are built in.
I got you.
And I don't mean that in any derogatory sense, it's just what you get used to. I mean, it's like you're going to, what do they say, gore somebody's, I don't remember the saying, but,
You said it, lobbyists, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's just a natural lobbyist, and so, those funds, I mean, that's, the legislature controls that. We don't have any say unless we wanna pick up the fight and say we want to see we wanna see legislation that changes how the TVA revenues are distributed across the state of Tennessee.
I think there's 210,000 or so acres in Anderson County, and, almost half of it is payment in lieu of tax. That's concerning to me.
Between DOE and
DOE,
TWRA.
TVA, TWRA, yep.
Well, I mean, you look at Monroe County, I think the majority of them is kind of, what is it, the national park? I mean, there's just a lot of federal lands.
That's
I mean,
true.
there are several counties like that across the state, and they just have no source of revenue because it's all under exemption.
Interesting.
Commissioner McCamey, I think you read my mind.
Well, I was talking about earmarking, anything that we do in the way of water. If we, drill a well or use a well and have a tank, that's gonna have to be paid for. We would borrow the money and then pay it back with those.
TWRA money.
Yeah, the TWRA money, I think it ought to go there, you know, that's where the majority of the land that TWRA owns is in New River. And, like Commissioner Wandell said, you know, coal severance tax money never did really go to New River. You know, a portion of it went to schools and the other went to the roads. But, you know, there wasn't that many roads in Rosedale. You know,
We got some bad roads now.
I know, but, you know, the gas tax, over there, the, timber tax, and now we don't get any timber tax, you know, so we're stuck. There's no coal, there's no timber. And, so I think that we ought to earmark those funds from TWRA for that area.
You know, that was one of the things that Northeast Railroad Authority tried to use to keep the rails there, is that they could ship the timber by rail instead of truck,
Yeah.
and hopefully save some of our roads, which is deteriorated beyond repair almost.
Right.
Commissioner Foster.
Yeah, I just would warn commissioners that when we start earmarking money from certain areas, you will have every other taxpayer that's in the county going, well, I want this earmarked for my area. As I'm a citizen of Clinton, I want my earmarked money to be spent just Clinton. We just have to be very careful of that. So opens a can of worms. We all would come every month and ask for money for our district. Commissioner Wandell's already thinking about Clacks and what he can spend over there, right? So
We'll be last, don't worry.
Commissioner Val, I was gonna call on you next anyway.
Love Mike, love Robert, and appreciate what y'all are trying to do. When I disagree with you, it don't mean I'm mad at you. You're very right. Commissioner Yeager and I have had several conversations in the past, and the question come up, what do Oak Ridgers get for their tax dollars? We've had that discussion a few times, right?
Yeah, we can have another one.
So if we're going to be concerned with that, when it comes down to trying to help people who don't have clean water coming into their house, and we're gonna use that as an excuse to debate the issue, I would challenge us to make a list of all the stuff that county residents don't get, from living in the city and all the benefits, how Gary Long don't have to worry about the roads that are in the city of Clinton. And then if I really wanted to hold a finger, I could point to this nice curb that's in the middle of the street out here in Clinton that I have no idea where that came from. We can have that discussion if you'd like, but I think once you boil it down and talk about this issue, if there is a legal way, and we can get the law director's office involved in it, and he can give us a legal opinion on it. If there's a legal way to do this, I think we owe it to every resident of this county, and I think ACWA would agree with us, that every resident in this county deserves clean water, regardless of where they live. And none of us, maybe Big O was, but none of us was living at the time that the New River Devonia area was where everybody wanted to live, simply because of the work that was available over there. Houses were being built. I don't know how many stores Scotty said was over there at one time. I understand where you're coming from, and I think it's prudent to be cautious, but at the same time, I don't think the conversation ends with worrying about people who live in the city not getting the same things that are people that are out in the rural areas, because that can be flipped and go back the other way as well.
Kind of like TIFs.
Kind of like TIFs, amen, yes.
Yeah.
I think the 122 exit has really, really benefited from TIFs over the last few years.
And the Walmart.
And the Walmart.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I'll say one thing,
Yeah.
and I love Commissioner Val. I've known him for a long time. But if we want to go down this road, we can do. I represent District 2, which is a city. Most of mine is in the district, and we want to talk about roads. And you say Gary Long don't have to fix our roads, but my tax dollars are helping fixing roads in New River. So that I'm okay with that because I don't think it's, that's why I go. Let's be careful because I get that a lot, and he gets that a lot from his constituents. Well, I'm paying county taxes. What am I getting? I'll sit here and we had a conversation a year and a half ago about traffic light that the city of Clinton put in, and that the county didn't put any money to, and they said we would. So we're a county and we're a whole.
And I voted yes on that.
I know. So I just say we had to be careful when we go down that road because it can go both ways. And I'm all for supporting the county, but I represent my district, and I have a lot of taxpayers that ask me, what's my tax dollars going as a county resident?
And I get asked that same question from our constituents as well.
100%. So I'm done. So
I'm ready to go down the road, Mr. Chairman.
That was good, hearty discussion. State Route 116 emergency maintenance request. Commissioner Wandale.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I simply would like to have my colleagues consider, if they would, I'd like to do a motion to have if the mayor is willing and the law director, and if the mayor would like to do it, I'm fine with that too, but I'd like to have us draft a letter to the state legislature and respectfully request that they provide some emergency funding for Highway 116. And what happens is, and you guys know this from up there, that you have your first road embankment fall in, you're down to one lane, you have a red light. The second one happens and is down to now 2 roads with red lights and 1 lanes, again, for the buses to drive through. So when you make a call to the state, you get this. Well, yeah, we already know about that one road. We're going to get that fixed. Well, it's already to 2 roads. And then once you get them convinced there's a second one, then they say, well, we'll look at the second one. Well, by the time the second one's happened, now we've got several other spots with freeze thaw that's happened with all the ice and snow where literally the curves of the road are dropped 10 to 12 inches, probably not 12 inches. I'm exaggerating a little bit. Let's just say 3 to 6 inches. But they're dropping. That tells you that area is going to fall in.
Absolutely.
And we got to do something. You can't just throw a little pavement over it and think that's going to fix it. So, you hear all this discussion, and I've learned more about that area than I've ever learned in the last year and a half, and I'm happy to do so because I did not realize the historical value of that area, and I encourage everyone that can to do research on it. And that area is something that we could really benefit from, and I could see a scenic trail up there on 116. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the state make an investment to make it a scenic trail for the historic. You worked your hind end off on the coal museum, and the coal museum sits there on Main Street, and we don't get a whole lot of help, from the state. I'd like to see us tie it all together. Have a coal scenic highway going all the way over to Petros and stuff, but I know I'm getting off my soapbox here, so I'm just going to make a motion that we allow. Mayor, would you be interested in? Okay, thank you.
And
So
I'll second that motion for my friends up in New River and my Commissioner District 4.
And if it would have got to me, I'd have voted for that light in Clinton. I just didn't get a chance.
Yeah, didn't get our budget.
Right. So anyway, I'll make that motion to allow the mayor to draft a letter to the state for Highway 16 to provide emergency funding to make immediate repairs as quickly as possible.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Before we vote on that motion, back in 2012 when we got the guardrails, we had an unfortunate accident over there and the guy lost his life. But then at the time, Chairman Fritz actually set something up with TDOT, and we got buses, and they drove from one end to the other. They had to stop because they got sick a couple of times. I was riding with a lady that was over it at the time. She was
Commissioner Chuck Fritz?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so she kept telling the driver to get over, and he said, I'm already in the middle of the road. And this was on a school bus. So I asked that lady, I said, how would you like for your child to ride on a school bus? Given this, didn't take long to get the guardrails. They need more, but anyway, I think, Mayor, if you can put something together and let them drive over that one time. I've even got several news people to ride over it to see what they think to do a story. And I guess there's a story upcoming about that too, from Channel 10 and WVLT, that, you know, they're interested in doing a story. That's a dangerous road, sure is. But we'd appreciate that, so all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Foster. Motion passes unanimous. Animal shelter updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know Mayor's been out of town and just once really, but Mayor, if you could, just looking for any type of updates you or Damon may have as it relates to the numbers. I think we missed a month or something. So if we get updates on the numbers, updates on parking, the audit, if that's in process, any new tracking systems. I know we talked about that before. And then also any updates on the committee, if anybody's got any updates on that, how it's coming.
I've accepted applications up until the 6th, so I'll be putting some nominees on the agenda. Damon did get me December's numbers in time, but because I wasn't here, I did not put those on the agenda. So for Wednesday's agenda, I'll be putting both December's and January's stats in there, but I'm happy to read them. For December, there was 18 dog adoptions, 25 cats, for a total of 43. Reclaims, 8 dogs, 2 cats. Euthanasia, we had, for medical reasons, 1 dog, 1 cat. We had 1 dog at Carnes Animal Clinic and 1 bat. And Damon can talk to you about the bats. We get these sometimes, I think, from the Department of Health. And then in-house numbers, 12 dogs, 17 cats, for a total of 29. The fosters were 8 dogs, 21 cats. And then Damon is also adding new numbers, because I know this has been a topic. He's, for December stats, is adding the wait list for owner surrenders. So this does not include the officer case for strays. So these are for a total of 69, 47 dogs, 22 cats. The parking lot area, I think I shared that I had talked with Matt. I've played tag with Gary, but in looking at it, with the new shelter coming, Matt is going to turn that into a play area. He's going to put a couple of picnic tables, do some pebbles that can be sanitized, and we'll make it a place for all the volunteers to be out there. And with the weather turning, we'll now be able to work on that. The animal shelter we had our pre-construction meeting on Wednesday. All of the paperwork is signed and executed. USDA concurred with the contract, all of the documents. We had the building permit, part of going out to bid, we had to submit everything to the city of Clinton. That permit was ready with the exceptions, it was ready in, I believe it was September, October, but we had to have, in order to get the full permit, you have to have who the contractor is, who their subs are, who's doing all the grading work, all of that. So, Place Services has gone over there to pull that permit. I don't have a date yet of when they're rolling into town. The contract is 365 days, but we'll have a big, USDA wants to come. We do have to put up a big sign that says, funding supplied by USDA, that contact information. So we'll be doing that. The head of the state USDA will come to town. We'll have a nice ribbon cutting for that. And then we'll do an official groundbreaking once we get some of the grade work done. So that's all moving forward. Damon can speak more. He is here if you want to hear from him. He can speak more about the software. It's working really well. Anything you want to add on the software?
We're using Animals First. So far, so good. It's very user friendly. It has a good support team. We couldn't be happier. It's working out great so far.
On this Animal First, let's say you've lost a cat and you're trying to find it. if you call, and I know you're busy and you don't get an answer, do you have anything online or anything like that that you could look to see?
I think we have reached out to IT. There is a different or phone entering service. That way, we know if it's a general shelter question or an animal control question that can, be fostered out more quickly.
Okay, but I mean, is there a way to look to see what you have there? There used to be something you could see on Facebook or something like that. But, I mean, is there a different number for people to call or anything?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
We get them on the website as quickly as possible or Facebook.
Oh, so there's a website that you can go look at.
Yep.
And what's that website?
It's AndersonAnimals.org.
AndersonAnimals.org. Okay.
So the new software, Chairman, has the capability, we just haven't finished connecting it yet. This new system will incorporate, I don't know if that's the right word, you don't have to type in new entries. So what it'll do, we just have to finish that marrying of the Animals First with Pet Finder, and then I think there's 2 others that it connects with. Or maybe I'm wrong on that.
Pet Finder was the main one.
Was the main one? Okay. So once they enter the description into Animals First, then you're not having to upload that same information where it goes out across the country on Pet Finder. So that's the one thing they haven't gotten finished yet.
Okay, I knew that
Yeah.
was coming up, and I've got a constituent that lives with me that we've lost a cat. So I told her that there was something like that out there. I didn't know if it was ready yet.
Yeah, no.
So
We need to get it done.
Yep.
okay.
Brian is working on, we had,
This is my daughter, by the way.
oh, okay. We had on the phone side of things with AI, all of this stuff is moving so fast. And they actually have a system that can, where it used to be super expensive, now they can answer a lot of questions. And the one company, I think they wanted $8,000 to be able to do that, so that you always, like, if you have a question about what's the law or what's the leash law or what are the operating hours, all of that stuff is automatic. But Brian has found somebody else that he's going to interview that does. It's cheaper, so it's really cool technology that is out there now. And then you can also go online, and it'll just real time answer all of your questions.
And our website has that also, all that kind of information, but people don't like going in and having to use a drop down and to get into another page.
Right.
So
it's already preloaded for the AI purposes,
Yeah.
but it's not really accessible if people don't know where to look. Is their question related to law, or is it related to something else, like TWRA, for instance? This will answer for them if they just have a general question.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a couple. Thank you.
Which one, Dale?
David, I want to thank you for responding the other day when I sent you an email. I didn't have your cell, and I appreciate you giving me your cell number.
course.
Just for the folks out there that may not have understood that there is heat at the animal shelter for all the animals, correct?
Yes.
And I appreciate it. Wanted to ask you, have you done remodeling at the current shelter? Is it being upgraded?
We did put up a wall to separate from the cats. That way, if someone wants to visit with a dog,
Gotcha.
we can close that gate, or we put a gate in there.
Okay.
And so there's no access to the cats.
Gotcha.
So.
And yeah, they need to paint. So they've got, you've probably seen in the background,
It's
there's all
purple
these-
now. So.
It's all right. Nothing wrong with purple. I'm all right with Mr. Chairman, I don't know who, it might be Chairman Palmer that I need to, but I'll be happy to put my name on the what are we calling this thing? I know we're not calling it advisory committee, that's the wrong name, so I always look to my friends over there in the corner to tell me, because I can't remember what it is. But whatever that committee's called for the animals that we're working on, need a couple commissioners. I know Commissioner Anderson's, or excuse me, Allen has put his name in on there if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was.
He might have forgot, so.
We got voted on.
Yeah, he was voted on.
But yeah, you've already been confirmed. So put me down.
But he's on there. Put my name on it.
Put me down on there. I'd like to serve. How many we need? One more? That'd be two of us.
If you would, Commissioner Wendell, just send an email to
Okay.
Annette that you
To Annette?
would like to be on there.
Okay.
And we'll vote on it.
Okay.
next week.
And if there's any other commissioners that want to do it, they just send that to Annette as well?
Yep.
Okay,
And
cool.
we'll vote on it.
All right, thank you.
Even if Anthony doesn't remember.
Something else that Damon's working on, he's working with a couple that wants to have a 5K, and they want to raise funds to support the surgery center. Damon is also working on, we want to try to do a partnership with one of the vet schools to have a veterinarian there, maybe some students there, and like a big portion of our funds is contracted service funds for health care for the animals. So we would like to trade those funds and get veterinary, on-staff veterinarian at a new facility. It wouldn't, you're gonna trade the in-person for help at the facility, so.
Okay,
Something he's working on.
great. Any other questions? All right, we'll move on.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Next on the agenda was ACWA minutes. Commissioner Foster, I know you was talking about that in the Rules Committee. And I walked in on part of it. I was out at 4-H thing.
Yeah, it needs, we just need to find a place for it. It doesn't, because it's not new business or old business, because we're not taking any action on it, we're just, they're for a record. So
Right.
either under the law director's report, under the mayor's report, we just need to find a place for it that's the right, because things either need to be under new business, old business, or, new business or unfinished business, sorry about that.
Let's go ahead.
But, because we're not taking action on it, they're there for our reference.
For information, almost
Yeah.
like a consent.
That's what I was gonna.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we don't have a consent for operations committee. It's just, so maybe we just need to take them off operations and put them on the consent agenda at full commission. And that way we have them for reference. And if something we need to discuss, then we send it to, we just put it on the agenda as an action item. Right? Because that's really all we're doing is sending them up to full commission anyways.
Right.
So that's what I would just say, we put them under and that's where they've been, is in the consent agenda. It's kind of, and we're not usually getting them before
Yeah,
we
it
come to
moves from
operations.
operations to the consent agenda.
Yeah, because really,
Now.
yeah, and they don't really need to come here unless we're gonna take action on something, but those are just for reference, and then, kind of see what they're doing. So I would just say we don't even, and if somebody wants to take something we want to address, then we would just put it on the agenda as.
Well, see,
that.
I know the intent of it being on here was to be able to discuss it before full commission.
Yeah, but there's really, from the minutes, there's not a lot for us to discuss, we're just looking at them, and half the time we don't even have them before we get to full commission.
Right.
Because and that's not Annette's fault, that's them getting them to Annette, so.
Yeah.
But if there's something, that would just be my thought on that, just cleaning that up, that's not really a spot for them,
Okay.
so.
So you took that up in rules, and we'll take it up.
Yes,
full
we took
commission.
it up in rules.
Okay.
I just used it as an example. You just kind of walked in right when I was using it.
Yeah. Anything on, anybody want to speak on the minutes? Got anything on ACWA minutes? If not, we'll move on. Under unfinished business, the Rails to Trails in New River, I asked for, a little bit more time on that because there've been several changes. I know several of you have got calls in favor of some. And then we've got, we've learned that there's another group, it's called Echo Group, that is interested in buying the property. They have went and got someone to look up, find somebody to find the money for them. If they buy it, then we don't, or the folks in New River don't have any say-so, although they have said that they would allow two people to be on that committee, on that board. Hopefully they want the same things that that maybe the people over there would want. I mean, something's going to happen. whether this group or it's done through the state. But we want, before we enter into some type of resolution, we want to know what we're doing so we can help support the people of that community. Because if we go ahead and make some type of resolution now, it could be completely different than what it needs to be, if you follow me. And then the people from the, let's see, what's the name of that group? The Citizens for Wilderness has reached out, and the Department of Tourism for McMinn County and Mayor Gentry has invited on March the 28th all county commissioners. I know this would have to be listed, public notice, and anyone from New River that would like to take a field trip to go down there and see what their rails to trails was. I mean, I don't think they allow ATVs, and that's one of the biggest things that I think the people in New River, that community, they don't want no more ATVs on those trails. But if it's going to happen, we're going to have to, do whatever we can to help the people as much as possible. So I'd like to take, put this off another 30 days, give everybody the opportunity, because it's, it was set out, can't say no. I mean, if anybody wants to go, they can go, and the people from New River can go as well. That's on March the 28th, and there'll be more details coming up. I think Nancy told me that it'd be next week. I was able to be on a Zoom meeting last week, and where they talked about the barriers and how many people actually live on the trail. And from what they're looking at now, it's non-ATV. Of course, there's places there, for a restaurant, some other things, and when you start getting into a restaurant, and then you're going to need more water. So, but that's in the plans, and they've always said they can't build it on proposal, that it may come, but this could be a list of things that will come from this development company that's going to invest money. So I'd ask for another 30 days, and March the 28th probably have to be, but probably 60 days. Commissioner Wandell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess, I've been wondering, the Northeast Tennessee Railroad Authority we passed in 2010, it specifically says that Anderson County, Campbell County, Scott counties manages regional rail issues, included contested 41-mile R.J. Corman line, Oneida to Devona. The group focuses on preserving rail infrastructure for economic development or converting it into trails, with recent debates focusing on a proposed hiking/biking trail amidst strong residents' opposition. I guess my question is, what is the county's position on the Northeast Tennessee Railroad Authority? We formed that in 2010, and we formed it for that purpose. What have we done with it? What's the issue?
Well, I'll let the mayor speak about that, but I've been on there since 2010 originally. And Mayor?
I feel like we could, maybe it's
we
defunct,
did.
but why couldn't we tap into that and use it?
I don't know. So the NETRA is a creation of the state of Tennessee, the legislature, and it allows for, I think there are rail authorities in other areas. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with part of what you were reading there about the trails and things like that. I know that when I studied the history of it, and we were trying to preserve the rail line, it had been used for, I guess, it was a vehicle for grants to be able to improve the line. And, I don't know what you're reading, but, maybe that is something, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm only familiar with
I just remember it was a big push, you and Commissioner Isabel back in 2010, and it made a lot of sense, and I think we all supported it. And I think if that tool's in the tool pouch on the shelf, I think we ought to reach for it and get it out and see if we can sharpen it up and use it for our advantage for that 41-mile track. And you know, I'm not sure that this other group would even have access to it. I don't know.
Well, we spent all the money fighting R.J. Corman
Mm-hmm.
to keep him from taking it up, so.
Yeah.
And then it went to appeals,
I mean, yeah, we,
and we lost by one vote, I think.
yes, I mean, it was a long, drawn-out, protracted battle, and I still, that's one that I really hate that we lost, because once you pull the tracks up, I mean, you don't know, are you gonna need it again?
Right.
I also felt, and I still believe, it would have been a beautiful rails and trails. But, I mean, I guess there's no looking back. But it may be something where Netra can, I don't know all the mechanics of what's happening. So R.J. Corman still owns this. Part of what Nancy is talking about is this rail banking and the private or the nonprofit entity. I need to do some more studying. I'm just not that literate on it, but it may be something that, okay, if that happens, Netra could, you know, be a vehicle to get funds for the management. I'm happy to do some research on
Well,
it.
you guys had I mean, I remember it was a great idea, and I mean, it was,
when the
you guys were doing that in 2010,
Yeah.
and now they're coming back to it.
When the railroad was functioning, for them to get a grant, they had to apply through it through Netra.
Well, I'd be
Originally.
supportive, Mayor, if you see some opportunity there. I mean, I would imagine our body would be interested in hearing what you might find.
But anyway,
I'll look
if
into
we
it.
could delay this for, 60 days till we see what's gonna happen, because we don't wanna get it to the point where, they don't have any say-so. But I do think that this ECHO group, they're against the ATVs. I may be completely wrong, but from what I understand, it's more of a hiking type bicycle is the proposal that they've told me. Until I see something more, maybe after this field trip, might see a little bit more about it, but still, it's the decision of the folks over there, and there is, I know everybody here's probably got some phone calls, but anyway, if we could defer that for 60 days.
I'll make a motion to defer for 60 days.
Sure. Got a motion to second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. I don't know if anybody out there want to speak on the rails to trails, but, it's just right now, we're still kind of up in the air. All right, the next thing was the telehealth for animals, and I appreciate getting this deferred so many times, but what it's come down to is the livestock. Before this other law was passed, you could go to the co-op and get antibiotics for your livestock, for your cows or whatever. Now, you have to wait till field veterinarian comes to look at, the cows or whatever you have, to write a prescription for that. Well, that's a big cost, and, if you're into cattle and some of these other livestock, you're not making a whole lot of money. And if you have to wait on a field veterinarian, I'm not saying anything, there's covered up. It's time to get there. And, the animal could perish before it gets the medication. But what I would ask for is that we could go back to that or use telehealth that says, look, this is my cattle, this is the symptom. Normally I would go get the ringworm medicine or the antibiotic and administer it myself, but I'm not allowed to buy it anymore. So that's what I would ask, that we send a letter to the state legislators to see if there's some way that we can rectify that issue or add that to telehealth. If they don't want to go back to the way that it was, it's just to be able to use telehealth, because there is telehealth. The mayor's done a lot of research on that and helped us out with, she sent us an email on that. But if there's something that we could do along those lines.
I have a question, sir. What was the justification for, this was a new bill that was passed?
Yeah.
Is this, do you know the justification behind this?
I would have to guess, and the word would be lobbyist.
All right, thank you.
Okay, and that's just a guess. Okay. No.
Well, even if you do have telehealth, they still gotta be able to go buy the medicine.
Yeah, but it gives them where they can go get the medicine, I guess, you know, without having to wait on a field veterinarian to come and write a prescription.
It's still at the co-op though?
Yeah, and still, because you can't buy it at the co-op now without a prescription.
Okay.
It's my understanding.
That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, and that's the big push from the people that I have in the rural community, says I can't treat my cow or my bull or whatever until I get a field veterinarian out here, and then, of course, you know, they're in the business to get paid, so.
Well, I think I'll make a motion that we do that.
Okay.
Send in the letter.
Got a motion and a second, Commissioner McCamey. Law Director Brooks, do you know what we're trying to achieve, or? Okay.
I think looking for help from the legislature or our contingent. Basically, you want to be able to go back and purchase directly from co-op, I guess without a prescription, those things you need or used to be able to purchase directly without the vet having to come out.
Or use telehealth to be able to get the prescription.
Okay.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
And that'll be a motion for our office to prepare the letter.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And then I also spoke with our ag agent too, and that was, you know, that was her recommendation. That was one of the biggest things too, so. New business.
Mr. Chairman, Mayor, you don't have to answer now, but I forgot, I asked about the audit, and if you
don't have any more.
no updates.
No,
Okay.
no updates.
All right, and then Damon, you don't have to answer now either, but I've had a lot of questions about what farm animals are we taking in? You don't have to answer, I mean, you can send me an email, whatever you want to do.
We're not taking in any farm animals.
Okay.
If we do get a farm call and there's a question of cruelty, we refer it to the state, and if the state wants our help, then we will help.
So there was I guess on one of the reports previously that showed some farm animals or something, so maybe that, you didn't take any in, you went and called on them or something?
Those were feed in place.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Someone had passed away.
I follow you.
They were not permanent citizens of Anderson County. I'm not sure if they were passing through. It's kind of up there near, what's the big 4x4 area? Windrock. Yes, Windrock, sorry.
I follow you.
Yes, they had a pony, horse, some pigs, and a few goats.
Okay.
And it was feed in place for a few days.
So thank you, I appreciate the clarification. Thank you for jumping up there. Okay, Mr. Chairman, the other item, and Mayor, I'll ask you, how would you like to pursue? I did, as I say, talk to Randy Heeman, a city manager of Oak Ridge, at our meeting at the ECA, and also Charlotte Bowers from Roane County. And after attending that, I know you've been to the tours probably with ORNL before, but it just absolutely blew me away what ORNL, and I know all of our labs do, but when I went and sat in that auditorium and learned all of the different functions our ORNL provides to businesses and to TVA, and you know, seeing that screen sighting map across the United States with the transmission lines, and all this, of course, is related to energy and to nuclear and AI and all this stuff, and you're sitting there watching all this stuff in just amazement that all this happens in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And I had zero idea, not that I should have, but I couldn't appreciate that. So I came out of there as I was sitting there thinking to myself, we need to go. And I would love, if you like to spearhead it, I'm good with that. If you don't have time, that's fine. This is something I genuinely like to see. Roane County, Anderson County, and the city of Oak Ridge all come together, go for a lunch and learn, maybe, go in the morning on a Friday. So I know everybody can't make it, but it seems like Fridays usually work for most people. If you would be willing to do that.
Absolutely, okay. Yeah. Anytime, I know one time I think it was during COVID, but we had something with Y12.
You did?
And then we did something with UCOR, but that was just kind of a windshield tour of the
Right.
campuses. But I know Dr. Stryfer is all about connecting with the community. He would love to have Anderson County Commission, Roane County Commission, City Council on campus. I know he would.
You know, I know you go to those E-Tech meetings on Fridays, and I do as well, but Dr. Stryfer, you know, listening to him engage with people at the E-Tech meeting versus on his home turf of ORNL was two different extremes. And what an amazing man, knowledgeable. I mean, never one time looked at a piece of paper and read from it. I mean, he's just phenomenal. So, yes, if you wouldn't mind, I'm going to make a motion, Mayor, if you're good with it,
Yeah,
to
I'm
have
happy
Mayor
to reach
Frank
out.
set up a joint meeting for Roane County, Anderson County, and the city of Oak Ridge to go to ORNL for a lunch and learn, I'll call it. That's my motion.
Got a motion, second, discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I had just a couple of little updates that were actually under unfinished, but you moved really quickly to new business.
Okay.
Just something that was in front of this committee. One, the sewer, the smell on Mountain View Road.
Yeah.
ACWA has been working really hard at that. They've changed chemicals, filters. They also worked with a vendor on trying something new. And I've gotten, I don't know if you have, and Commissioner McNabb, if you have, but I've gotten very positive reports.
It was even on the radio, very positive.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
good.
Good.
So anyhow, but Mr. Elrod, the general manager, said, but we're not stopping. He's still working on it. They want to make sure that it holds, that it's good, that there may be other things out there that can work. And then the other thing in front of this committee has also come the Sinking Springs Road. I was in DC for our last meeting, so I did not get to brief you, but TDOT is putting in a turn lane. They're working on right-of-way. They're going to do a turn lane to State Route 61 northbound, turning into Sinking Springs Road. And then I did submit a letter to be part of the historic review process, and that really is just about keeping us informed. So because once you ask to be included on that, then they'll kind of tell you where they are in the process.
That's great.
So,
Yeah.
progress there.
Yeah. Way to go, Operations Committee.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Mayor, and you don't have to answer this question, but I'm curious of your opinion. At that ECA meeting, they're talking about this RFI with the state of Tennessee and all the states.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard anything on what our position is for that, for the state or locally, or do we know? I didn't really get an impression of.
I have not met, so I do have a meeting with the city of Oak Ridge on the payment in lieu of issue with Roane County. I don't know if the city has an official opinion. I don't know if it's been in front of their council. I mean, I plan to ask. With the state of Tennessee, I don't know. My understanding is I think anybody with a energy community and the opportunity is looking at it. So, but I don't have anything official or here's some plans or here's what we're looking at doing, but but it is, at that ECA meeting, you heard it's 60 days. So it's pretty quick and pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
So.
I was just curious. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Waddell, you use the acronym RFI?
Request for information.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a request for information that DOE has put out to all the states, asking for their input on, I forget the term, it's a nuclear campus innovation, nuclear innovation campus.
Yeah.
But in with that innovation comes long-term storage, which can cause some issues, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, you figure, you know, it's gonna be, a lot of people have to make decisions.
Well, we're seeing so many good things about all this progress that Oak Ridge is making with the nuclear
Yeah, Centris announcement was huge, and
Yeah.
Mayor was there, spoke well, and it's, you know, $563 million, and how many jobs was it? 340?
430.
430, yes. So that's right in Oak Ridge, Tennessee.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
So one of the things about the request for information is they're just trying to find their, so it's not a official proposal. It's more, as Commissioner Wandell said, it's about information. So for instance, even on the waste side, that may be, and we'll clarify, they're calling it, you know, it's an asset. And they had, for instance, John Luke there from Arano, who was talking about 96% of the used fuel can be reprocessed and used again. And I know you're big on recycling. And 4% is other materials that are all of these radioisotopes. And so there's not a lot that's true, actually, waste that has to be dealt with. I think they talked about in France, it was the size of the conference room that we were in at our ECA meeting for, you know, the ultimate what cannot be reused. But for the state of Tennessee, you know, if they do a proposal, it doesn't have to just be about your community. It can be a partnership with other communities or other states, you know, even the region. So it's very much still in flux, like what that's going to look like, and I think the federal government's trying to figure it out as well. But it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Lots of opportunity.
Great. Anything else?
Oh, thank you.
We'll say thank you to the 4 commissioners, Madam Chairman, that's from the Budget Committee that sat through the whole thing. We appreciate your input. We really do. Appreciate everybody here, the people out. Law Director, go ahead.
Just real quick, Commissioner McCamey, I've got an update for you on the Shin River School. We do not, Cassandra is not here in person, but she's been watching us, and she's texted me. We do not have that file in our office. We will get with Marjorie and see what's
Josh Vickery.
Josh and Marjorie, and see what the status is, and I'll have that in the report Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you.
And by the way, that Commissioner Val.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make one quick announcement. I know we've been here for a while, but I actually have an update on the issue with tractor trailers on Highway 116.
That's right. Yeah.
To bring everybody up to speed, we knew tractor trailers were going up and down that road. It is a state road, however, it's curvy, it's windy, it's got drop-offs, it was dangerous. We had a lot of complaints. Representative Ed Butler helped us get restrictions on that road. TDOT has put up signs. It slowed it down a little bit, still didn't help it a whole lot. We were discussing in previous budget committee meetings about purchasing signs like the sheriff's office had that you can program to say what you needed it to say. I think the ones the sheriff's office have is more speed limit than anything else. However, during the course of trying to find out where those signs were purchased so that we could look into purchasing similar signs, the Emergency Management Agency of the county has graciously offered to take one that they have, and it's a good size one. It's like 5 by 10. And they're going to let us use that while there aren't any emergencies going on that they need it. Obviously, if there is one, they'll have to come get it and take it back. But we really appreciate EMA for offering that effort. So this will be a cooperative effort between County Commission, Sheriff's Office, EMA. And we're going to take the sign in the first place that we're going to take it. We reached out to the city of Oliver Springs. We're going to put it, I forgot the name of the street. My grandmother would whip me. If you're at the 4-way stop and turn going toward Dutch Valley, Spring Street. As you're coming down the road that cuts up to the right that goes up the hill, before you get to Frost Bottom, the one that's still in the city that takes you back up on the 4-lane.
Oh. That's where Ruby's Diner's at.
Yeah, Oliver Springs has recommended that we put it there, And that way, that'll give any tractor trailer who's thinking about going that way, following their car GPS, an opportunity to turn off and go back up on the 4-lane. And then they can find an opportunity to go back around and come back Tri-County Boulevard or wherever. So we are very, very appreciative of VMA, City of Oliver Springs. I think it's going to be a big benefit to your district, to the 4th District as well, and then we'll move it somewhere else. It will also help us get good information and knowledge to see how beneficial this would be, how effective it would be, and then if we need to purchase one later on, then we would have that information to go along with it.
That's my commissioner.
Well, it's been a joint effort between us and TDOT and everybody over the last year or so. So we appreciate everybody's efforts on it. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Anything else? Been a great meeting. Thank you all. Thanks everybody's been here. See you.